All right, well, man, it's been a hot minute since I've put together a video. It's actually since about the last race that I did, but life gets ahead of you, and sometimes there's just too much stuff going on, and these videos take a back seat. But tomorrow we got a second race of the season down in San Diego. They race every month from May on through October. Raced in May. Took last month off, and then this is July, so I'm gonna race this race. This is gonna be another sprint, and so here we go. I want to run you guys kind of through like what my race weekend looks like these days, just kind of what happens and how I prep and what I do. So first off, it's Saturday. Friday, did a little workout, something super easy just to get the legs moving. Saturday, typically the day before the race, I don't do anything. As long as I'm not traveling, the day before the race, I typically take off. Some people always want to do something the day before the race so they can feel fresh and don't feel like their legs are slowing down or anything like that. I do a lot of stretching and rolling and things like that, but I don't really tend to do anything as far as exercise-wise. If it's an in-town race, sometimes if I'm doing like an out of town race, if I'm traveling, I'll do like a real easy workout the day before, just to kind of get the legs moving and everything. But here we are, man. We're gonna I gotta swap the chain out on the bike. I'm gonna put a new waxed. I have two chains that I wax and just rotate through, so I always throw a fresh chain on for the race. We're gonna swap out the chain. Just go over the bike, make sure everything here's all good to go, and probably get everything loaded up in the truck and good to go tomorrow, because the wife and kid are coming. So easier tomorrow morning is the easier it is for everyone. So the less I got to do tomorrow morning, the easier it is. So we're gonna go over the bike, check everything out, swap chain out like I said, make sure. I think I need to make a little derailleur change. It seems to have, I think the cable stretched a little bit, so just make a little change there to make sure that's all dialed in. And then get the gear loaded up, go over all that stuff, make sure everything's charged and good to go. And we'll get fired up tomorrow morning. So here we go. If you're asking yourself, why don't I just do this inside the house where it's not 5,000 degrees? It's I don't want the dried up chain flakes all over my house. Really, my wife doesn't want it all over my house, all the house. And I got a baby crawling around, so I don't really want that stuff on the ground anyway. It's probably not the healthiest thing to have. So that's why I try to do all that stuff outside right now. So as far as loading up my gear goes, it's all pretty straightforward stuff. I go kind of, my little process is I literally will stand in the living room and just run myself through the race. Like I'll start with the swim, make sure I have all the gear I need for my swim, and then I'll stand there and say, okay, next is the bike. What do I need? Go through all the gear I need for my bike, pack it up, and then finally look at the run and say, okay, what do I need for my run? It's all pretty straightforward, but it's a process that really has served me very well. I've never shown up to a race, missing anything. And like I said, the night before the race, I really like to do some foam rolling and stretching, just kind of, that's really the most I do. So I'll get on the ground, I'll do some rolling, I'll do a little bit of stretching. That's kind of my routine for staying loose and ready for the day before, as opposed to, maybe doing like a really easy, light workout or anything like that. One thing that I've been kind of experimenting with this year or the last week or so is I've been experimenting with ketones for recovery and sleep. Later in the year, I'm planning on doing kind of races back to back, where I'm going to race an Olympic distance triathlon, and then next week I'm going to go out to Las Vegas and do the T100 race. So I'm kind of trying to dial in what's the best way and fastest way for me to recover after a race, and just kind of experimenting with that. And then another thing I've always tried is a company, Peak Cocktails. These are fantastic drinks. I drink them quite often. They're non-alcoholic cocktails, but Also, they really aid with sleep. I'm a huge fan of these. They help me out. Try these out. There's a code down here. Honestly, these things are rad. Like, I've been a big fan. I've been using it for a couple years now, and it's not smoke and mirrors, but don't take my word for it. Give it a shot. As far as the morning of, I don't do anything special for dinner the night before the races. I don't do anything special for breakfast. I do smoothies pretty much every day of the week. So I just do a smoothie before the race. Sometimes I'll do overnight oats, but smoothies just serve me well. They're easy way just to kind of get calories in and, food that's simple, easy. I know my body's going to digest it well, so that's kind of what I do.
All right, so it was race morning and slept pretty good. We're lucky. Little man, he sleeps pretty well, so that's not a big concern these days. And so one thing that's kind of nice is like the local race series that I do. They do like a VIP check-in option where you can pay like $30 or something to essentially. You don't have to go to the expo to pick up all your race packets or anything. Before the race, you can just show up race morning. You can pick up all your stuff, and then they save you a spot on the rack for your bike and your gear. So I've realized that it's worth it for me these days just because I can sleep in a little bit. I don't have to worry about getting there super early to try to get my stuff on the rack. I don't have to go to the expo. It's just less time with family and the kid and everything like that. So it's worth it for me to do that. It's kind of nice. And also this morning, just logistically the way it worked out, my wife's she's gonna meet me up there. She's gonna drive separate just so, since my my wave doesn't go off to like 7:45, so like racing starts at like I think 6:30, and I won't go off until like 7:45. So my wife's just going to meet me up there just because, they can sleep in. Little guy can get some rest and, kind of doesn't completely destroy our whole day for him. So she's just going to meet me up there a little bit later, which is nice. We're heading down to the beach, 40 minute drive or so. We'll be at the race venue and just get our stuff set up. And pretty much just get to hurry up and wait for our starting day.
So on to the actual race. This is the only race that I do that's an actual open ocean swim. Everything else that I do is done in a bay or a lake or something. So this is actually through the surf. Depending on the waves, that really can make or break the race. Surf was pretty flat today, so it really wasn't too bad. Swim was fast. I went through it in about 7.5 minutes or so. Because it was low tide, you were able to almost run probably the first 200 yards or 200 meters without even really having or needing to swim because it was so shallow. It was a very quick swim, and the distances were almost spot on. The transition area for this race is pretty brutal. You're essentially running straight up the side of a hill. It's extremely steep, and it's pretty long too. So 4-minute transition area, and it's over a quarter mile that you're just coming out of the ocean and then having to run up this extremely steep grade all the way into a parking lot. That's where the transition area is at. So going through transition, kind of normal thing. Felt okay. I feel like I was a little bit off my transitions today, to be honest. Like I was just a little bit slower than I wanted to be. Gave up a little bit of time, but it was could have been worse. Everything went smooth. Getting shoes on, getting dialed in. It was a bit of a jog again to get to the actual mountain line. So you're just kind of jogging along, and you just kind of jogging along down all the way down. It's another, it's a little bit to actually get to that mountain line. And then once I got to the mountain line, slipped a pedal, made a good bobble here, got into some caution tape, and then kind of managed to gather myself up and get back going. So bike course is, pretty straightforward. It's just a really straightforward kind of called basically like a paperclip loop, kind of looks like a paperclip, just really narrow down and back. It's on one side of it, you kind of go down a hill and then you are coming back up that hill towards the end. But otherwise, weather was really nice for the day. There was no wind. I've done this race before where you get some pretty strong offshore wind, so it can actually be pretty rough. But today, wind was super calm. Weather was super nice. And one thing that I will note, I was very, very, very pleasantly surprised with is actually multiple people mentioned it, is like how well behaved, I guess is the better only way I can put it. Everybody on the bike course was, as far as respecting, staying to the right side of the road, passing on the left. Like, I was very surprised, especially after the last race I did with this series was honestly a bit of a joke, because the first race of this year back in May, like it was like dangerous, in my opinion, like what people were doing on the bike course. So everyone was very well mannered. I was very surprised. It was very refreshing to honestly be out on a bike course where everyone just kind of seemed to be on the same page and knowing what they're doing. It was very nice. As far as me and kind of my bike performance, going into this race, my training has been a bit off. Like it's just had a lot going on in my life personally, and just home life and kids and everything kind of got caught up. After that last race I did, we took a vacation. I got sick, kid got sick, all the excuses. So my training's been a bit iffy. My legs have not felt good on the bike, and to be honest, didn't really feel all that awesome on the bike today either, but still managed to put down some okay power and feel like I was able to do all right. So coming into T2, I always do like a flying dismount, so I'll always make sure like I take my shoes off ahead of time and get my feet on top of my shoes. Saves me a lot of time, I think, in transition here, without kind of wasting any. I will say this guy that blew past me going into transition, coming into the actual dismount line, just about wadded himself up, overcooked it by quite a bit, and just about had a fun one. So I was able to hop off next to him and just kind of jog on by him barefoot all the way into transition. This transition was a bit rough for whatever reason. My right shoe, when I put it on, I completely stomped my tongue of my shoe like way down into it, and I goofed around with it here for quite a while to try to get it fixed. Finally got it fixed enough, and then got my other shoe on, grabbed my gear, and we were off to the races and onto the run course. Run course is good. It's the same thing. This is a pretty flat run course. It's got a little bit on one of the ends. It kind of drops off, so you do kind of go down a little bit of a hill and then back up, but really nothing too bad. Legs felt okay. I was really struggling for whatever reason. I don't know if it was because it was overcast, but my Garmin was not giving me my pace correctly. So when I first started running, it was giving me telling me I was running like an 8:30 pace, and I was worried for a second that it was correct, and I'm like, I'm in trouble because my legs didn't feel like it was an 8:30. And then after the first mile, my Garmin buzzed at me and tells me that I'm running like a 7:05 mile pace. So it was giving me the correct mile times as far as like every distance, but in the moment it was telling me like I was running anywhere between 8:30 and 9:30 miles. So it wasn't tracking my distance or my pace correctly, which is a bit frustrating. Had a fun race though. I met a guy before the race who inadvertently, I guess me and him have raced a bunch, and I've kind of nicked him at the end of these races. And so I was marking him because he was out in front of me. And he was probably about a minute in front of me on the run when we started, and I ran him down to, I was about 35 seconds behind him by the time we finished. So it was a fun race. Like, I was kind of marking him, chasing him down, but these sprints, they really hurt. These races just seem to you condense a whole lot of pain into a short amount of time, as opposed to longer races where it's kind of more spread out. So coming across the finish line, I was burnt. Like, I was hurting pretty bad. This race seemed to really hurt, but I did run a under 21 minute 5K for the time. The whole course, the bike course is short. I think it's only 9 miles, but I went under an hour for the entire race. I went 59:43, which is PR for this course for me by, I think, like 4 minutes. So I was very happy about it, especially not, going into this race not feeling great. I was super happy about it. But otherwise, this was, a fun race. I was really excited to get racing again and felt like I was getting really bored of just training and not training, and just kind of, was very happy with the way the day went. But I really enjoy these races. San Diego Tri puts on a great series. Next race is going to be an Olympic distance race in about 2-3 weeks, and then season kind of rolls on, and we'll be racing every month from here on out. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Appreciate you guys watching, following along, and all the things. Come back later, and we'll have some more videos. Hopefully I'll be able to make some more videos here soon, because I've been dragging a little bit, so hopefully I can get some more content out. But thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Bye.